All right, traders, let's just get to it. 5 trades today, technically 4 for 5, but we ended up with a pretty big red day. So let's get to it. All right, before we talk about the trades, one positive thing to note from today is that we are still doing the 2,000 subscriber giveaway. So I appreciate that support. Doing the 2 weeks intensity team package that includes the chats, the scanners, everything for 2 weeks. That's going to be pretty awesome, as well as the $25 Amazon gift card. But in order to win those, you do have to show up for the Friday night live stream, obviously on Friday, 9 Eastern. So make sure if you want to win those, feel free to show up. So the trades. Our first trade was kind of a crappy one to start off the day. HPQ pretty much nailed the top. This came back down, tested this 1824 area, and it tried again. It came back down to 1824 and started going back up, and it just felt like it wanted to go higher. It did. So I ended up getting out, and as you can see, I pretty much top ticked this candle. Actually, looks like, yeah, we actually got higher than it says on the candle, so that's interesting. That's always fun. And as you can see, we were very much wrong on that one. So that ended up being pretty much a break-even trade. Then we went over to HBI. This one was okay. Pretty much got the extension away from this previous resistance. I only got a single entry towards the top. It came pretty much right down to that area, so we decided to just take the whole thing off. It did bounce and come a little bit lower, but we were close enough there. Again, only single entry. Then we went over to RCL. RCL, this one was a pretty good one, extension away from previous resistance. I had looked up at the daily on this one, and I saw a pretty key area right at, we'll do it here. If we scroll way in, you'll see it was this candle right here, 55.62. And when I had first pulled this chart up, we were down in this area around 54, and I said if we could get a squeeze up towards that 55 area, I'd be interested. And sure enough, it started going. It was kind of grinding, and then on this candle, it just absolutely exploded, went right up to 55. We pretty much top ticked this thing. We got it at 54.93. The high was 55.04. We only got a single entry though. Came right back down pretty far, so we decided to take 75. Was it 75? Yeah, we took 75% off, and then it decided to go back up towards 5 days, so we ended up stopping out. So a little frustrating on that one. As you can see, it did end up going higher after it kind of faked out. But anyways, on to the fun one. You guys are going to love to beat me up for this one. So BE, previous resistance, all the way down here, right off the scanner, kind of pops up, and it tried 16, and then it tried it again, and it failed. So we jumped in 1586. It did try to come lower, as you can see, 1572, and then it decided to pop all the way up through 16, made a huge run, pretty much straight to 1650. We hit it once when it failed 1650, and then it went through 1650, and it was 1635 and 1621. So we hit it at, I'm pretty sure, let me check, 1621, I believe was the first one. Yeah, and then it went through 1650, and we were looking, or it went up to 1650, I'm sorry, and then looked to come back down, so we hit it, looking to add for the move back down. Just trying to get some size. But as you can tell, the new candle started at 1635, and it ripped all the way up to 1687. Pretty much top ticked this one, I think. Yeah, 1674. It tried to come back down. It did not seem to want to get up there to 17. It kept failing. So when we started the drop, we actually added to our position again. And really the only mistake on this trade I really feel like I had was my cut should have been right there. The only reason I didn't cut it right there is because we were so close to that whole $1.17, and this extension was just crazy good. So what happened is it just blew through. So the high of day was at 1689. Actually, it was 89. So it hit 89 and then literally just went right through 17 all the way up to 1730. And so because I didn't have my stop in where it should have been, we were along for the ride at this point. And at this point, we had 210 shares. So we weren't looking that great as far as the P&L goes, considering our max loss should have only been $100, and we ended up, I think it was like 230 or something like that. But anyways, we said, okay, well, that was a pretty intense move. Let's let it do its thing, and we're just going to kind of not go all in, obviously, but we're just going to give it one more shot. And so we kind of felt the top at 1730 here. We got an add as it started coming back down. We doubled our position. We got the add at 1708. It actually brought our average up to 1675 and some change. So we were really looking for this thing, you know, to obviously break back down. And as it was coming down, you can see, let me get rid of this line here. It tried. It really did. And it was just frustrating that it didn't work out. Why is it not? It's going to make me click it. All right, I don't know why that's not working. But as you can see, it did come back up to the high of day, which I guess I could have just looked at the montage, which is 1740 and 17. There it goes. So 1730 was the high. It tried to pull back down to 17 twice. Couldn't get through, so I said, okay, if it goes high of day, I have to cut it because now we're close to 1750, and if that rips through 1750 with all these shares, I need to just start saying my goodbyes possibly to a lot of my account. So obviously couldn't let that happen. This was obviously protecting my account. And of course, it was the top. It faked out. And so when it did that, we realized from the trade earlier on RCL, if you want to go back to that real quick, it's the same thing happened. I even called this live in the Discord. When it came back up, it faked out. It was not the extension, and because this thing was moving at 50 cent to 1 point intervals. So you can see 55.04, when it went high of day, it only went 11 cents, and it was on like really crappy volume. And so you could almost just tell that this was a fake out and it was going to go lower. And pretty much the same thing happened on BE. It tried to go high of day, but in this case, there was actually a ton of volume, which is usually a good indication that there's going to be a reversal. When you get a really small candle and no price movement with that much volume, the odds are it's going to pull back. And so complete FOMO trade, because these aren't the typical trades that we take, but we did end up taking this trade for half of the position that we had in the first one, and we were trying to let this thing work, but right around 1650 it just found support, and it did try to go lower. We had an order out for 75% of the last 100 at 16. It was like 16 and some change, and unfortunately we just couldn't get it. And yeah, so we ended up covering out the rest there when we realized that this thing was going higher, and that was my trade on BE. So the final tally, which I'm sure you guys are all interested in seeing, was not that great. It comes out to be 147.55 in the red, but this number was, I want to say, like 230 something. So I don't know. Maybe there's something to waiting just to hit the backside with some size. I don't know, because that's where I made a decent chunk of that back. But yeah, just a little frustrating. Not the best day, obviously. Small wins, break even, and then big loss. So little unfortunate. It is what it is. We're going to move forward. You guys can beat me up in the comment section if you want. I guess I deserve it, but I really feel the only reason I deserve it is because I didn't stop out where I should have. The trade itself, it's fine. It didn't work out, but this little last bit is kind of unacceptable. That is me breaking the rules, even though it didn't really add that much more risk. It was unnecessary risk. So just because a chart looks good necessarily, you still have to respect your rules and your max loss, and I didn't do that. So that's all I have for you today. Happy hump day. Hopefully yours was a lot better than mine. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I always appreciate that support. Don't forget about the Friday night live stream and the giveaway. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.